Cool Hand Podcast, something you got to deal with. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host. My name is Q. We have a very special guest in the building. Long time coming with this. I was about to say this artist, but he is an artist.
I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he is an artist. I as you can see, the ambiance, the vibe is a whole lot different. And this is the thing about the Cool Hand Podcast. We talk about creatives. We talk about people with a vision. This is somebody with a vision. This is somebody who is real with himself. This is somebody who is real with others. This is real Atlanta, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, guest, please introduce yourself.
My name is Jai. You can call me Jai Jai, also known as Jai's Vendetta. And that's me.
Jai, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for setting the mood. I want to get to know you a little bit because I think we first met last year at the Castier pop-up in Atlanta, 2022.
Yep.
Tapped back in Charlotte in May of 2023, and here we are. So this is the homie, and he always shows love too. Always shows love. So Jai, where, I mentioned you're real Atlanta, but where are you from in Atlanta? What was your upbringing like?
I'm from Eastside, Zone 6. I spent a little bit of time in Zone 5. And for people who are going to get a little bit confused by that, Candler Road, Decatur, Boulder Crest. I even lived in Lithonia for a little bit, Central Drive. And that's like the far east edge of what's considered Atlanta. Because a lot of people don't know this, but Atlanta is bigger than what it says on the map. The city literally shrunk as time went by. Atlanta used to be a much bigger place. So sometimes you hear people say, I'm from Atlanta. You be like, where? From where? They be like, Gwinnett. And at first it seems like they're lying, but actually some parts of Gwinnett is old Atlanta. That's still Zone 2. So I'm from Zone 6, Central Drive. Spent some time in Stone Mountain, Lithonia. But I'm a Decatur baby at my heart, Candler Road, yeah.
Decatur baby in the building.
Yes,
so what was life like growing up, being a Decatur baby? You said Zone 6, right?
Yes, sir.
What was life like in Zone 6 growing up?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. It's just kids outside, football. It's real active, just real active. Cause I come from communities that weren't the safest. So the only things to do were to be outside, being a kid, playing, and then going to school. That's it. And as you get older, of course, you can branch out into other stuff. Not all those things are the best, but yeah.
So, growing up in an area that wasn't the safest, but still being outside as a youth, enjoying yourself as a little child. So, when you say not the safest, what do you mean? What was going on out there?
You ever heard that 21 Savage song? Solid Gauge.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is like that. Central Drive is just one of the most dangerous places in Metro Atlanta, East Atlanta. A lot of gang activity, and by a lot of gang activity, I don't mean like you step outside and there's drive-bys. Atlanta is very different than a lot of other places when it comes to gang activity because it's very covert. Like you won't see it unless you are in it or you just are a victim of it. And unfortunately, I kind of was both. But yeah, not the safest place. There'd be all kind of stuff going down, but that's just life here.
How did you if you were able to, how did you stay out the way?
I tried. Staying out the way, I'm not gonna lie. Well, okay, I come from a very traditional Southern family. My mother's from Louisiana. My dad, who raised me, he's from Florida. So, very traditional. Everybody stay inside. Let's go out together as a unit, all type of stuff. So very family oriented. And, being a kid just meant for me, just playing. So football, basketball, I was always involved in athletics. And that kind of kept me out of trouble up until it didn't.
And let's talk about it because, just being young and a lot of things having a different influence over us. Yeah. We can, not to say like, a certain life is a phase, but we can become victim to a certain mentality, a certain lifestyle. So, what did you eventually get into? Just acting like a little knucklehead.
Oh yeah, I was outside. I was outside for real, and everybody that know what I'm saying know what I'm saying. See what I'm saying? Like I was outside for real. It didn't last long because you and I both know where we come from and what we were raised in. So it kind of came to a head where it was like, this is not me. This is something that I've adapted to survive, but it's not something that I really believe in. I've become a product of my environment, and I've nurtured myself to become something different. But nurture and nature are different, and my nature was something much calmer. I'm really a sweetheart. So all that stuff, it became me, but it wasn't me, and that's just it kind of played out that way.
I got you. How do you end up breaking out of that mind state from like being outside to transitioning to being a calmer being?
Man, what? I'm still trying to figure it out now. It's like there'll be moments. I don't want to call it PTSD because I feel like that's a serious thing. But I call it like a little bit of relapse where it's like, your old personality come out a little bit and you gotta contain it. But realistically, just becoming more spiritual, focusing on things that really do matter to you. Focus on things that benefit you, because if you're being real about it, at the end of the day, that lifestyle is not beneficial for self. I had OGs, literally, and everything I was doing was benefiting them. All I was doing was essentially ducking and diving and getting away with conniving, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that. But yeah, just grounding myself, getting back to who I was in my nature and who I was raised to be. That's what got me out of that.
Yeah. And I respect it. I know not like I was off the porch or outside for real.
Hop off the porch.
But like I know for myself, like we talked about this in a whip a little earlier off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went through a very, very small phase. I put like a pinky toe in the streets, and and that was like a pinky toe. And I still keep up. I'm somebody who like searches people up. I Google people that meant something to me. I Googled one of my homies from back in the day who was down here. Okay, he was locked up. He got out, got killed, got killed shortly from, getting out the joint. My other homie, he was locked up as well, and it looks like he's doing well, like on some culinary stuff, turning his life around. But they say like the only outcome when you're off the porch, in the streets, doing all that is like dead or in jail. Now, I feel like some people, and this is the thing that a square like me will never fully understand, but understand to an extent. You can't tell nobody like who's really in there, who's really in the thick of it, who got beef, who got people relying on him in the streets to get out of it, that there's another way out.
Yeah, and trust me, I wasn't in it for very long either. You say you put your pinky toe in, I put maybe my middle toe in there. Like, I wasn't in there for too long, but it took years and years to cycle back. I'm not going to lie to you. It's still sometimes when I'm outside and I see somebody who I'm not supposed to see, and it's like, ooh, let me leave.
Yeah.
Because, it'd be different. It'd be a different story if it was 5 years ago, but this is not 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do something about this and remove myself from certain environments.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And what's commendable is you being able to see your way out.
Oh yeah.
Because you can, you don't have to. You can conform to a certain lifestyle and stick with it, but having something in you, a certain love for God,
of course,
love for yourself, love for your family, to make an exit and do something that's more beneficial for yourself. So I'm glad that you're with us today.
Definitely.
So Jai's Vendetta on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Now you are I'm gonna say a unique personality in the sense of you're able to be honest. It doesn't seem like you lie to yourself.
Oh no.
And you're able to be vulnerable as well. So when you're coming up as a youngin', what contributed to your personality traits that we have today?
Ooh-wee. Well, for one, I always tell people this when they get close to me. I was raised by women, and I stand on that because I have a lot of sisters, 5 to be specific, that I know of. And, of course, a mother. And, for a long, long time, for about 10 years of my life, I was the only masculine presence in my entire life. So I'm just soaking in all this, feminine energy. And I had to learn how to empathize and learn how to be in touch with my emotions. And to this day, I still am. Another thing, too, is I am a natural opposer. Like if the world is going one way, I want the friction, I want the static, I want the smoke. Like I want to see what it's like going the other way. And in this world today, it's all smoke and mirrors. Everybody's really dishonest with themselves. Everybody's a little too guarded with who they are as a person in real life. And so I'm like, why is it that everybody's posting their accomplishments, but nobody's posting their mistakes? Let me go post all of my mistakes right now. Let me show you what it's like to be truly exposed to the world in your rawest state, you know. And a lot of people don't like it, and that's okay, because I understand. People don't like what they can relate to or can't understand. But just growing up and not only being raised by women, but also being a middle child and kind of having that to deal with the the unseen thing, the shadow band kid thing. It kind of just made me realize, you know what? I feel most myself when I'm not scared being myself, and so I move fearless. I really do. And you can tell by some of the things I post. You may hear, "Oh, Josh, so wow! I can't believe he said that." But guess what? You were thinking it. I'm just the only one brave enough. I'm just the only one brave enough to post it, and I'm not gonna be ashamed of it, because I'm gonna walk the edge. I'll never go off the edge, but I'm gonna dance on that edge. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
So, speaking of Instagram, mm-hmm. because I'm tuned in with the, I watch people's stuff, and I remember something about you saying you didn't have like a real childhood. Oh, yeah. Where you had to really like take care of things, like you had responsibilities, real responsibilities.
Oh yeah.
At a young age. Do you care to elaborate?
Well, growing up with a single mother, she had to work, obviously, to provide for us, and because of that, she wasn't as present as you would expect most mothers to be, but she did the best. My mother is the most amazing woman I know, so I would always be with my aunties or my grandma. And because I was out of that element, I became really self-reliant at a very young age. And so while other kids were teenagers asking their parents 1,000,001 questions, I was just outside figuring it out. And to be honest, that made me susceptible to a lot of things, which is how I ended up outside. Mm-hmm. But it just became a thing where I developed this pride as a child. Like, okay, I didn't come from the best set of cards dealt to me, so I'm going to force myself to make my mama proud, to make things happen for me that should have happened for me before I was even born. And I just became really, really self-reliant. And because of that, I missed out on childhood, because at 10 years old, I was thinking about things like buying my mama a house or a mortgage. Literally, I'm so serious. Things that you don't expect children to think about, I was already thinking about it because I had to. And I felt like I had to.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel today? Yeah, well, I'll just leave that open-ended. How do you feel today?
It's funny you asked me that, because I was just thinking in my head, if he asked me how I feel now, I'm going to tell him the exact opposite. I'm the biggest kid now. Like, so serious. Like, the same kind of subtle impulsiveness you expect from children to just say what they feel in the moment and to dance around. I embody that now, and I use it to my advantage when I want to outlet my feelings, because I didn't do it when I was younger. And so I guess I'm making up for that now. But yeah, I'm a big kid. You gonna see me dancing around in the middle. I don't care where I'm at. I could be in public. I'm dancing around. I'm saying exactly what I feel in the moment. I'm dressing how I want to. I do whatever I want, just like you expect, a young child to do, because I missed out on that for the longest time. And my purest form of expression is just tapping into the positive, impulsive thoughts that rest in my head.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you're hated now.
Oh yeah, but I like that.
No, for real. Because this is the thing. Like, for me interacting with you, like I view you as a cool dude, for real. Mm-hmm. And I viewed you as a good friend. I was saying this when we were talking off camera. Also, like there was certain things that I'm aware of that happened with another one of your friends, and I felt strongly about it. And you're closer to him than I am, so I felt strongly about it. You definitely felt strongly about it. Yeah. And the one thing outside of that, you feeling strongly for your friends. Mm-hmm. I think I was telling my wife this. What I like about you and your friend group, you guys really support each other.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of setting up for things, for events, this, that, and the third. But this is what I know. This is the Jai that I know and have come to like. But for some reason, I just feel like there's like smoke around you where people just don't like you, and people don't want to like you either. So that being said, because you said you're like a big kid now, positive things. Right. You'll dance around. I've seen you dance. You know what I mean? Like being in your element, having fun. Yeah. So do you feel there's a lot of misconceptions that come with the name Jai?
Oh, for sure. First of all, they don't even say my name right. They call me Jay. My name's Jai. For everybody out there that needs to know, my name is Jai. Do not call me Jay. Please stop calling me Jay. But yeah, I'm a bit of a black sheep. Kind of like how you said, everybody that knows me, everybody that loves me, loves to love me. Everybody that hates me, hates to hate me. And it's because they see this window of things and they assume it's my entire life. And sometimes they get in the same room with me and they're just thrown back like, whoa, who is this person that I thought I knew? And I didn't do that intentionally. That's not the aura I want to present. It's not what I want to push off into the world. But if it's a byproduct of me being myself, then so be it. Like you mentioned, I feel very strongly about people who I'm close to. And you said my friend group, like you're not in it, but you my brother too.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
But yeah, we live in a generation who grew up in the information age. So our attention spans are a little bit shorter. And what we see is what we believe, no matter what it is. If we see it, we believe it. It can be words that are entirely untruthful. But if we see it, and it's the first thing we see, it's a instant reaction. It must be true. Because we just grew up in the internet age, the information era. And because of that, my personality is super complex to some people, and it's not something you can put into a little box like Instagram, the square frame on Instagram. And it kind of puts people in a predicament where, like I mentioned earlier, either you love me or you hate me. There's not an in-between person with me. Either I'm Jai, Southside sweetheart, or I can't stand that boy. It's one of them two. It's one of them two. But I'm working on it. I'm kind of cultivating my way around it to try to become. There's smoke around me for sure, and a little bit of mystery around me, but I want to present my truest self as much as possible. And the thing about being a black sheep is we get misnomered. Like we kind of get put into a box where it's like it's better to expect bad from us than good. And black sheep is a strange word because I like to say Black Panther. You know why? Because it's just a panther. It's just a leopard. It's melanated. It's literally misnomered. It's misnamed Black Panther. No, it's just a panther that's got dark skin. Like literally. So I identify with that. It's actually my favorite animal because, just like that black leopard or that leopard with the melanin complex gene, it's like people see me and they assume and they say, he's a Black Panther, when in reality I'm just like the other ones. My spot's just a little bit darker than yours.
He's just a panther, y'all. The Southside sweetheart is just a panther. I'm rolling with that name.
For sure.
Yeah, you should have never said it.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I'm rolling with that. So I just wanted to clear that up because I'm like, this hated Jai ain't the Jai that I know.
No,
so y'all need to kick back a little bit. So I notice, I think this might be a good transition because I want to get into some things like your style and things like that.
Okay.
But I feel like the black sheep, the misconception, the fake smoke around you, all of that. There was a term that was brought up that I had to research. This ain't a word that I. This dude be talking to me about words I don't know. And this is the thing. It's good to have friends. It's good to when you're not the smartest person in the room. That's what they say because you get to learn from others. So there was a term that was brought to my attention called intersectionality.
Right.
Okay, and I had to research this, but. Since you know what it is, don't have this idiot explain it. Can you kind of delve into that and how this applies to everything?
Okay, intersectionality. My personal definition of it is you're not gonna find it in Webster, but intersectionality to me is just combining two or more things with different elements to create one thing for the betterment of both. So, in its lowest form, I guess you can describe it as a collab. Like, okay, you have a musical artist, you have a sneaker company, you make a shoe, intersectionality. But in its highest forms, it can go as far as combining things like anthropology and mathematics, or rapid prototyping and aerodynamics. It's a process, and it's a word that has an application. It's almost a verb, even though it's not, because it's taking two or more things and combining them in such a way that it benefits people on either side of the spectrum and brings them in the middle. So, for example, if you have a collab sneaker like a Travis One, okay, music fans will appreciate that, but so will sneakerheads. But it can go even further and very technical, like things like engineers using drones and LEDs to, almost use illusions to pseudo recreate ancient structures that no longer exist. Or it goes as far as people using thermal scanning technology in very rural areas of South America based on hieroglyphs, bringing in anthropology to make new water systems that benefit a village that still lives there. It's a very deep and complex thing, but on the surface, people enjoy it every day. People enjoy intersectionality every single day on the internet, and they don't realize that's what it is. But intersectionality is just blending things together and creating something that's entirely unique that benefits all worlds involved with whatever things you're combining.
Mm. So in relation to you, would you describe yourself with that? I guess it's a noun since it's not an official verb. Is that how you would describe yourself?
Yeah.
Or an asset or aspect of yourself?
I guess I would. I guess my complexity does kind of tie back into intersectionality, or just intersecting, since that's the verb form of that. Because so many different parts of my life intersect each other, from being outside to being a Christian, to being artistic, to being literally a scientist. All these things intersect, and they come to a point where it's like, I'm me. And everybody has that. You're you. Q's from Pittsburgh. Q's from Georgia. Q has this. Q has that. Q does podcasts. Q likes, and all these things intersect to a very specific point where only you were you. And that's what intersectionality is. All different aspects of your life finding one central point, and that point illuminating itself.
One thing that makes Jai Jai is art.
Oh, yeah.
And I introduced him kinda as an artist, as I was trying to figure out how to introduce him. But he is an artist. When you look at how he puts that stuff on, I feel like there's not too many people who dress like you and or can pull it off like you. Dog got his hands in some gloves with the rings over the gloves.
Last minute decision, by the way.
Last minute decision, but he's pulling it off, and he's pulling it off well.
Thank you.
So, did you always have a fashion or an inclination for style in fashion?
I did, actually. There was a point in time in my life where, of course, like every kid, I was experimenting with things. But there was a point in time in my life where literally I was going to middle school, Stone Mountain Middle School, in suits. You know why? Because nobody else was doing it. I said, you know what? I'm going to look like a mobster. That was the motivation behind it. I'm like, I'm going to show up in a 3-piece suit. My mom looked at me crazy. Boy, where is you going? This is not field service. But here I am in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
3-piece suit every day to school. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's so different. I'm like, no, this is just what I feel. And it's funny you call me an artist, because a lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually had a scholarship to go to art school.
For real?
Boston University, School of Visual Arts. They offered me a scholarship. I was an illustrator, a painter, and a sculptor. And I kind of honed that in my younger years, and I kind of got away from it now. But being in the art world when I was younger contributed to how I presented myself and how I dressed. It was always like this. From wearing the and it's always funny because I always tend to be slightly ahead of trend. I was wearing distressed jeans before the jerkin era. You remember the jerkin era?
Absolutely.
Colorful jeans, the crazy patterns. I was already doing that before it came out. So when it came out, it was like, oh, people are, adapting to the change. And I kind of read the room before it happened. As far as style is concerned, just like I said, I feel like a big kid. I really do whatever I want. So sometimes I'll wake up and I'm like, I want to wear a ghillie suit today, and I really do it. Like the pictures haven't dropped yet, but I really went outside in a ghillie suit because it's like this is just what I feel like doing. Kind of like when you're a kid and you want to emulate your favorite superhero. Let me put a cape on. Let me put this mask on. Whatever you want to look like, whoever you're watching on TV in your Sunday morning cartoons. That's what I envision. That's what I sit down and think about. How would I have dressed when I was 6, wanting to look cool? And I'll just wear whatever I want. So stylistically, it's more of a feeling than it is, me truly being a fashion guy. I kind of get offended when people say you're a fashion guy, because I love fashion, but I'm not a fashion guy. Mm-hmm. Fashion guys, who I do love, no disrespect to you guys, they revolve around fashion. That's their entire life. I'm different. Fashion revolves around me. Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely a difference between fashion and style. Mm-hmm. Because if I see you, I would be like, okay, he's not out here trying to find, what was on the spring summer runway of, whatever. Right. You know what I mean? I consider you like more of a style guy, right, because you have a specific a niche, I would say.
And that's the word.
And how would you describe your style? Because I know what I would say, but I want to hear how you would describe your style.
I would say, well, for one, I am tapped in though. I do love me some high fashion collections.
Oh yeah, don't get confused.
Maison Margiela, number 9, undercover. I'm tapped in now. Acne Studios, all of that. I be knowing. But I would say stylistically, I would describe it as I like to dress with functionality. So I think I mentioned when we got out the car, I wore this to work. Mm-hmm. But I will also wear this if somebody said, hey, let's go downtown and let's shoot something. I will wear the exact same thing. And it's because I adapted my style around literally workwear, military forces, guys who do things like blue collar work, plumbers. They always had a very standout style to me because the clothes are designed to have a functionality. It's not meant to look good at all. It's just, it serves a purpose. Mm-hmm. But everybody has to have self-expression. So when these guys go to work, they want their jumpers to fit a certain way. Or they want their Timberlands to have a little smudge on the side, just so you know he really out here.
Yeah.
And I took that aspect of, I took streetwear and I combined it with workwear and I combine it with tech wear, and it all meets in the center. And it's a little bit of Gorpcore in there, a little bit of Japanese contemporary, but for the most part, it's really utilitarian, slightly militant. But just when you think you figured it out, it's like, boom. It's like, boom. Nothing but hip-hop just thrown into all of that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like that. And it goes along with what I was thinking, because I was thinking like a blue collar, mm-hmm. But like blue collar with like swag, like with a sense of style.
True.
So, okay. And this couldn't have happened overnight. And one thing that, when I was introduced to you, mm-hmm. One thing that stuck out to me about your style was the big belts.
The belts.
This is the big belt champion. Now I don't know, because you live in the future. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're 2 steps ahead of everybody. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if are you drifting away from the big belts? Because I feel mm-hmm. like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not lying. I ain't gonna lie to y'all either. I feel like I started seeing big belts more, at least on Instagram, because ain't nobody wearing no big belts in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I started seeing your big belts on the gram after you came out with them.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. Because I can't claim it. I don't want to claim that I started something because I would never do that. But I will say that I don't think it's something I'm gonna get away from because we've been going back to style. A lot of people don't understand this, but most of clothing is just body proportions and manipulating them. Mm-hmm. And I have very long legs and a very small torso, and I said, okay, how do I make myself look, presentable? How do I take advantage of my shape? And it's okay, make a clear, defined cutoff between your waist and everything above. How do you do that? Wear belts that contrast in color that are really thick and buckles that are really big. I have a whole collection of belts, and people obsess over it. Can I get one? Let me have one. And I give them away. I really do. But yeah, the big belt thing, it comes from my love for old Western culture and old hip hop culture. And I just love big belts. They look perfect, especially with baggy pants. Oh yeah, I love me a big belt. I'm not drifting away from it at all. In fact, I'm just kind of making a left turn. So you're gonna see more big belts. They just not gonna be the ones y'all used to, because y'all done took that from me already. We ain't gonna say no names. But you know who you is now.
So right now he's just letting everybody eat, and then he's gonna switch it up.
Oh yeah.
So you did also mention sculpting.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I feel like you got some things under wraps.
Ooh.
That are. I know as much as I know. I probably know as much as everybody else does. So I don't have any special knowledge, insight to what you do when you talk about sculpting. Mm-hmm. Now, you cater to the women.
Oh yeah.
You said you were raised by women. You love women. You're a gentleman too. Mm-hmm. This sweetheart. So
you're not gonna let that one go, y'all.
But all right, so what do you do in terms of sculpting, and where have you taken that creative part of you? Where are you going with it?
Well, I feel like this ties back into the whole intersectionality thing. I think I mentioned before how I had a scholarship to go to art school. Obviously, I didn't go, but I did go to engineering school. Mm-hmm. I have a natural aptitude for math and science, and so I realized art was too small for what kind of creativity I honed. I need creativity that has applications. And so I discovered engineering. So I went to engineering school. A lot of people don't know this about me either, but I have an engineering degree. So the whole artistic side of me just transferred. Engineering is nothing but art with numbers. That's really all it is. And so through going to engineering school, I picked up CAD. That's computer assisted design for people that don't know. I
didn't know, so thank you for saying that.
Sorry. Also known as computer automated design, whatever you want to call it. There's stuff out there like Blender, SolidWorks, AutoCAD, Rivet. This CAD allows you to make solid objects in a virtual space that you can turn into physical objects, real tangible things. It also allows you to calibrate and to test and to do virtual litmus testing for whatever purpose, this object or machine has. So my vein of engineering goes down machine design. And so I took that sculpting aspect and I just kind of turned it into first my career-based thing with engineering. And I said, let's make a U-turn and go back to creativity, and let's make things that can only be created in a non-physical state first, and then through modern technology brought back into real life. So you mentioned catering to the women. I'm really big on jewelry. I love jewelry. If I could go back and do anything else career-wise, I would go to school for design and jewelry. In fact, I'm probably going to end up retiring one day early and get into making jewelry because I'm in love with chains and grills and things of that nature. But also, high heels. I know you've seen them. I know you've seen the pictures and the videos and stuff. There's a very open market for creative high heels, and people are taking advantage of that currently. There's a lot of people out there that are really going crazy. Matthew Williams of Givenchy, that boy been cooking. Good God. Yves Saint Laurent has been running the heels game, in my opinion, for the longest time with the opium heels, the opium boots. But yeah, I created some heels, and I kind of put them away for a little bit. But don't worry, they're gonna come back eventually. But yes, I do love catering to women because I feel like the fashion world, or even the creative space in general, does not cater to women enough. There's a lot of room for unisex things. We live in a society now where women are dressing more androgynous than ever, which is okay because they can pull it off. I love it on them. But putting a feminine touch on something while also incorporating, here comes the intersectionality again, incorporating science and just design language, the way that would impact the world would be different. And you can see it's evident when something like Diesel's uprising comes, or like I mentioned, Yves Saint Laurent or Givenchy. There's a lot of people out there who are working in that niche that I was working in with the high heels, and they're doing just fine. And I decided to try my hand in it, and it's gonna come. It's gonna take some time, but it's gonna come eventually. But so far, I've been really focused on not even just jewelry, but heavily on jewelry, but also things just like, focusing on machine design, even things like functional toys, like Metacom toys or Bear Bricks. I'm sure people who live in the creative space know about those things, where these are physical objects that were created using, intersectionality again. But I've been really, really focused lately on jewelry and just machine design. And it's funny because Cool Hand Podcast first, hopefully, I brought you a little present. Yeah, he thought I was going to forget.
Are we for real?
Oh, yeah. So I asked you what your ring size was. You told me 10.
Oh, snap.
You told me 10.
So special. Yeah, 10.
Now, this is for you. If I was you, I'd try it on your pinky first. If you look really closely, it's really special.
Oh, this is the OG. I'm going to show this to the camera. This is the OG Cool Hand Podcast logo that my wife created. And we'll put this up on. Oh yeah. Y'all can't tell me a thing. Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Can you put the pinky up?
Y'all can't say.
Oh
nothing.
Yeah, it's over with. We done.
Real Cool Man Podcast.
QHP for real.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Now I'm talking about. But yeah, I made that for you.
Y'all can't tell me nothing. Thank you. give me that.
I made that for you. And guess what? Guess how I made it? CAD and rapid prototyping. That same intersectionality is literally present in the room with us right now. Because I asked you what your ring size was. I did my little dirty work, my homework. I said, hey, wasn't there a logo back in the day? I know you remember. You thought I was doing that for no reason. Nah.
Absolutely. I remember he was like, yeah, what was that logo? Woo, woo, woo. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the old school back. That's some 2019 stuff that Kayla made.
And it gets real deep, too, because that's an alternative material. It's a rubber-like TPU. It's 3D printed, actually.
What?
And it's Shore 85 hardness, which I know I'm speaking of engineering right now. But that just means the hardness level it presents is similar to, like, a shoe heel. So, it's durable. You can rough it up a little bit. Try not to, though, because I'm not going to tell you how much it costs to make. We'll say that off camera. But, yeah, that's for you, man. My appreciation for you.
Play with me. I'm going to leave this mark.
Yeah.
I'm knocking everybody out.
Yeah, put the pinky up.
I'm giving backhand slaps, one hitter quitters. Oh yeah, y'all going to feel this. Yeah, this is beautiful. Thank you. All right. Now let me turn my flatter, I'm flattered. So all right. I done lost my train of thought.
My bad, Twin.
So check this out. For all of the because I feel like this comes back around to the misconceptions about that some people may have. This ain't a bad person.
I hope not. I try not to be.
So yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Brother.
Cool Hand Podcast first. Cool Hand Podcast exclusive. We got the Cool Hand Podcast ring. So can people expect things like this in the future? I know you said like you're working on it. I see you on Instagram working on the designs with the computer type stuff, the things that I don't know and can't pronounce. I see you playing around with like different heel designs and things like that. How far would you want to take these things?
So, like I mentioned, I have an engineering degree, but I'm in pursuit of a second. And once I get that second degree, I'm going to eventually start a consulting firm for CAD, for machine design, but another niche thing about me is I'm going to leave a space for just creative pursuits and creative solutions using that consulting firm. And it's called Baroque Consulting, Baroque, Baroque, kind of like the painting era. And it's also going to be a very, very small department for people to have very unique things made for them. I'm going to call it Bespoke by Baroque. And, you know, you can come to me for jewelry or just creative solutions in general. I know you mentioned the heels. I'm also working on things like mugs and, like, I promise you, it gets kind of wacky, some of the stuff that I've worked on. But yeah, in the future, definitely going to leave the door open for people to come to me for creative solutions for whatever they need, to be honest.
So, Baroque, and then what was the second one?
Bespoke by Baroque.
Bespoke by Baroque. Mm-hmm. So, just for everybody's sake, how far in the future would you like to start this consulting firm?
I mean, the door's open now, to be honest with you. The LLC is loading up. I'm not talking about.
Okay.
I mean, for now, I'm keeping it friends and family. But if you hit the DM with the right type of talk, you know what I'm saying? we can make something happen because I'm just ready to apply myself as often as possible.
Got you. So it got to make sense. If you're not friends and family, it got to make sense.
It got to make sense.
If you know what that means, it got to make sense.
I'll put it like this: if your idea is well thought out, come talk to me because I would love to hear it.
Mm-hmm. So, just for example, for the upcoming Baroque consulting firm, what type of idea, if it's not like a jewelry idea or a high heel design, let's say, you know,
how deep does it go?
Yeah, how deep, how crazy are you willing to get with this? Just so people know what they can come to you about.
Okay. So I've been working on things like designing entire new systems for VVT, which is variable valve timing for combustible engines. I've been working on things like building solutions for using renewable materials. I'm truly an engineer at heart, so you can come to me for literally anything.
Okay. Right
now, literally at home this morning, I was working on this project I have. I'm working on an automated system for sequential shifting for a car that can be modulated to any vehicle universally. So really anything. I live in the space of hardware and functional design, but you know, if it's something as simple as a ring or a chain, I can do that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because I'm so ignorant, so I might ask something that might be redundant, but just for my own idiot understanding. So if I come to you, will you give me I'll give you an idea. Will you help me carry out my idea or give me the steps to carry out the idea? Will you blueprint something for me? To what extent does your consulting go?
It's like the ocean.
Okay.
It can go as deep as you want to get. You can even be hands-on with me if that's what you so choose to do. It can be something vague and you let me create what I believe you want me to create, or you can have something that you want to recreate. Like I said, I come from the world of engineering. Part of engineering is reverse engineering. I do that every day. That's been a part of my career building steps, like learning how to reverse engineer things. Because in CAD, that's the first thing you have to learn how to do, or make objects that you see in real life. And sometimes you'll see me post a picture of something in my hand, and I'll spend 2 hours and recreate it in CAD. And then if I so choose to, I'll send it off to my little outsource, wait 2 weeks, and I have a literal replica that I created myself of the same object I was just holding in my hand. Mm-hmm. So it can go as deep as you want it to go. Consulting, of course, is a big industry, and I'm just trying to put my pinky toe in it, but we'll see how it goes. It's something that I'm going to have to spend a lot of time learning and cultivating, but I'm dedicated to it because I feel like this is where everything in my life is intersecting, so to speak.
Time is money. So, with that, what are potential price points? And I feel like something like this is, would vary. But
Yeah.
how would you price your consulting?
Starting out is really hard because you got to build trust. It's like insurance companies. Like, you have to find a way to build a rapport and a history of coming through for clients. Pricing will be very, very flexible. Something as simple as you bringing your idea to me and letting me create it and bring it into the real world for you can be really cheap because you brought the idea to me and I just spent time putting it together. But if you're coming to me for something deep, you want me to grab all of your separate thoughts and create the idea for you and then create the physical object for you. Ooh, I might have to. My mama need a crib, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I might have to text you for that.
In transition, going back to Jai and who makes Jai Jai. What do you love most about yourself?
Ooh, that got really deep. What I love most about myself? I think what I love most about myself is, I guess, the capacity that I love other people with. If I love you, I really love you. I don't know how to shallow love anybody. I guess that's something that I really appreciate about myself because it's not very present today. We live in a very selfish world at the moment. Like, I think I was just mentioning to you how I met some of my internet friends in real life, and we spent a few days together, and I told them, when y'all leave, I'm gonna cry. And they were like, oh, you're just playing. And lo and behold, as soon as them girls hit the door, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's what I love most about myself, just my ability and capacity to love. Especially as men, a lot of men feel really out of touch with their emotional side. But it's something that came naturally to me and something that I opposed for so long, but leaning into it made me appreciate it.
At what point did you lean into it?
I would say early 20s. I'm not in them right now, but I would say maybe when I turned 20, 21, 22, when I realized, hey, you know what? This whole being soft thing or being available emotionally thing, this whole having the capacity to cry and smile and laugh and to be open and vulnerable, it's a superpower. It makes me different. So let's just try it. And the minute that I got a taste of how I felt leaning into it, it was wraps. It was over with.
And I just want to clarify something so nobody's confused. He might be or proclaim to be the Southside sweetheart, but ain't nothing sweet.
Not now.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like we're focusing, we're being positive and we're focusing on, good things and, referring to yourself as a sweetheart.
For sure.
And being vulnerable and being honest with yourself. But don't get it confused. Ain't nothing sweet. And I'm going to leave it alone. Because I don't want to. We
don't want to scare nobody.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to misrepresent you as like a big softy.
Right.
Like you could just play around with Ja. You know what I mean? Because
Hey, you don't make it where I come from if you a big softy now. If you soft, that's one thing, but you gotta learn how to turn up to another level. Know what I'm talking about? You got to. If you gonna make it, if you gonna eat, and they know what I'm talking about. Everybody that's outside for real know what I'm talking about. You can't be no big softy.
So don't find out.
Please don't.
Keep it cordial. Keep it cool.
I'm wearing these gloves for a reason.
There it goes. See? So is there anything, this is an open floor at this point. Is there anything that I missed? Anything that you wanted to say? Anything you wanted to explain? Any shout outs, love, anything, open floor.
Ooh. Oh, I'm going to cut up, boy. Matter of fact, God, you ask people this all the time. Do you got any sneak disses?
I stopped doing that. I'm like, let me stop doing this.
We starting again. We starting again. All y'all boys coming crop boys, I started that. Stop it. Big belts, you got it from me. Stop playing with me. Don't do it to yourself, because I will call you out. I got the screenshots. I got the screenshots. You know you done got it from me now. It's okay. It's all love. But stop pretending. Stop calling me Jay. My name is Jai. Okay? And if you're wondering why, all you gotta do is look up to the sky. Sneak this is I really love everybody for real. One thing I will say though, everybody give your inner child some love, man. For real. Like really love on little whoever is inside you. Because you know what's funny? Coming to this point where I want to start this consulting firm and I want to represent myself in my purest form of expression. All that came from just leaning to who I was as a child. Do you know that at 16 years old, I saved my family $100,000 because we had a plumbing issue. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows that East Atlanta infrastructure is trash. We had a pipe bust. And the pipe busted. The plumber said it's going to cost $100K. We got to dig up the driveway. We got to do all this extra. I literally, and I kid you not, at 18 years old, grabbed a shovel, started digging a whole trench where the pipe was. And I created a device using 2 meter sticks, some short aluminum nuts, a bolt, 2 bolts actually. And I saved my family $100,000 by making a device using my imagination and my childlike creativity. Because that idea didn't come from a place of maturity. It came from, what if we do this? What if we try this? Mm-hmm. And I did that in real life. And now it's coming full circle because those same ideas and those same applications is what is helping me to become the man that I'm going to be in the future as far as the consulting firm and the career path and the mindset. So give that inner child some love. Love on little whoever, baby whoever. They still in you. They ain't never going nowhere. You done lived with them for your entire life. Give them some love. Because they the ones that's going to save you in the end. They was there with you in the beginning. Now I'm talking about. Yeah.
Jai's Vendetta.
That's me.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for the wonderful gift. I'm wearing this all the time.
Good.
I'm wearing this all the time. Y'all going to see this everywhere and with everything that I do. So, yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate this. This is the Cool Hand Podcast. Something you got to
deal with, shawty. Yo.
Zone 6 in the building.
Zone 6. Throw the foes up. You got that from Atlanta. If you throwing the foes, you got that from Atlanta. Quit playing with us. I love you, boy.
And we out. Love you too. Cool Hand Podcast. Something you got to deal with. Easy.